All right, welcome back to Five-Star Counsel. It is great to have you back. We're this week talking about being service-based and not being client-focused. It's not that we don't care about clients, it's that we need to know what our organization is actually here to do. So we want to start way up at the top and think, well, there's business focus, there's a service focus, they're client focused. Everybody wants to say, let's focus on the clients. The problem is when you think about your business as a chain with things, you're going to have, well, three links, obviously. One, clients. That's the easy one. That's what everybody's focusing on. Number two, employees. So this is anybody who's doing work as an employee in the business. Yes, you're going to have people who serve two functions, both as employee and as owner, but we're talking about just the function of doing the work of the business, not working on the business, but working in it. So owner-operators, attorneys who both own the firm and work in the firm, this is just what you're doing when you're earning that salaried paycheck. And then finally, the third link, ownership. Everybody's got to work together. And these three links, well, they're all going to be there. We're always going to have these three links. We need to think, how do they operate together so that we can make sure that things work out for everybody? What do we want to be thinking about? Well, these owners are going to be our longest serving, longest existing links in this chain. Rare will it be when the ownership change. It's not impossible, but of the three that we're talking about, those are the ones that stick around the longest. You know, looking at my firm, I'm a sole owner. I'm not planning on taking on any other partners, anybody else to work with me as an owner. That's going to be the link of those three that changes the least. If we move on to employees, well, sure, I'm going to always be there as an employee. So kind of we go from one strong, almost unbreakable link for me as the owner, but then you get into employees. Well, we've got multiple links there in that side of the chain. That part, you know, obviously I'm there doing work as an attorney in the business. I've got my associate Neil, I've got Heather, my paralegal, I've got Brad and Bill and Bobby and all the other folks who are doing work for me. They're all, you know, the goal would be they don't ever leave. Why? Well, selfishly, that means I don't have to do any turnover. I don't have to do anything else to try and find somebody to fill in their spot. But what we're really trying to do is make sure that, you know, keep people around as long as possible. So ownership would be here as always. It's continuous, but rarely changing. Employees, we want people sticking around. And then finally, we get to our clients. And all the focus has been on, we want to make sure that we're focused on our clients. And this isn't wrong. Obviously, we want to take care of our clients. We want to provide service to them so that they move the needle that they've come to us to move, so that we can deliver for them. They say nice things about us, leave us great reviews, pay us, you know, the wonderful waterfall of benefits that come from having a great service delivered and received as a great experience. But the thing is, if we focus exclusively on what it means to clients, we're leaving out the other two links. We're also focusing on the most transient of those three links. Ownership, we talked about, that's rarely going to change. Employees, hopefully they're sticking around, but ultimately, I mean, in today's market and employment market, and this isn't even anything new, employees move for whatever reason, better offers, better pay, whatever it may be. It will be rare to have employees stick with you forever. And then we've got clients. Clients are generally going to come and go in a matter of months, maybe a year. You know, your practice area will dictate what this looks like. But ultimately, you've got more clients than you have employees. You have more employees than you have owners. And what that means is each one should be less important when you've got all of these clients. If you're serving a broad, you know, even if the clients all look the same because you've done the work to figure out what your ideal client is, the clients still, you want to be in a position where you're not worried about any one client leaving. And if you focus And this is the problem that I see with it is when you focus on these transient clients, it's yes, three legs of the stool. We need them to all be there. But if you think about the legs, they're not all built the same. Ownership is going to be one single, one single leg where it's not moving that much. That ownership leg really does stay where it is and it doesn't get changed much. The employees, instead of it being kind of thinking about it as one strong leg, it may be five or a similar number of kind of more fragile sticks, dowels that are bound together, but they're there longer term and they can withstand a little bit more. The clients, these are almost like binding up straws. You pull them all together. The clients are what obviously feeds the firm. Without clients coming in and paying you to do the work, you're going to be lost. But any one client, it should not be enough. If you lose one of those clients, it's not going to be the end of the world, and it shouldn't be. If you're focused all on one client and they walk out the door, you're going to be in a bigger problem versus, thinking back to what I'd done in I think it was third grade science class where we built these giant towers out of drinking straws. Well, that's where you kind of want to think about your clients is we've got so many of them, whatever that may be. For some firms, it may be 10 clients. For others, it may be 100 at a time where you're taking care of them, but any one individual client isn't going to sink the ship. If you remove that straw from the bundle, you're not going to fall over. You've got enough other clients supporting that side of the stool that you're able to keep going. For employees, we want to make sure that we're training and we've got some redundancy. But again, there's a higher investment in each employee. We need to keep them going. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of them. And obviously, anything we do for the ownership needs to make sure it works for them. So this is a whole way of saying we're looking at each of these three legs a little differently, but ultimately, whatever we're doing, when we're taking care of everybody, we want to come to it from the service focus, because as owners, we're going to be taking care of our employees who are going to be taking care of our clients. The ownership, even if you are the owner, operator, attorney, yes, you're working in the business, but we're not thinking about you as the owner. We're thinking about you operating there as an employee. Your obligations, your duties, and what you're doing as an owner, that's separate from what you're doing as an employee. And so we're really kind of teasing it out of what as an owner are you doing to make things easier for your employees? As the employees, what can you be doing to make it easier for the boss? What can you be doing to make it easier for the client? Ultimately, we're driving to make it easy for the client to get in, get their work done, know where they are, and move forward with solving whatever problem we're there to solve for them. But it comes down to, the notion that I've come out with a few times of service is how we deliver our product to our clients. But management is how we serve our employees. It's really two sides of the same coin. We have to treat people the same so that we want to treat clients well. We want to treat our employees well, because the employees are the ones who are going to be interfacing with our clients. The better we treat them, the better we take care of them, the better our clients are going to like what we've done. And so it's not saying it's unimportant not to focus on the clients, but we can't forget about our employees. The employees are going to be the ones who come in and they're the ones who are doing the work. If they're mistreated, if they're not taken care of well, then that's going to redound and it's going to kind of pass on, trickle down to our clients. And as a way of thinking about it, when I was at the hotel, there was the golden rule of, we're going to treat everybody, not just clients, but we're going to treat them as though we'd want to be treated. And the rules that applied, the core values that were reduced down to a service acronym of service. So it was everything was started with a smile. You made eye contact. You recognized who they were as well as where they were. So if somebody was in a wheelchair, you need to recognize that and not treat them as though their legs, whatever is keeping them in the wheelchair, you need to acknowledge what's going on and recognize that so that you can better adapt to them. B for voice, making sure you spoke in a clear, loud voice so that people could be heard and understood. Was therefore informed, so you knew what was going on. You could explain things to people. Everything C was clean. And finally, everyone was the last, but obviously E fits in there at the end of service, which makes it easy. But the point was that these rules applied to everyone. It didn't matter if you were at the front desk, the front drive, housekeeping, laundry, accounting, way in the back office, and engineering, whatever it was, these rules applied to everyone, and we were ultimately expected to treat employees in the same way that we treated our clients. And so part of the way we did this at the hotel was making sure that employees got a chance to experience what it was like to stay at Four Seasons. So we would have every 6 months or a year, depending on your work anniversary, you would get the chance to see what it was like to stay at a Four Seasons. You'd get a new allotment of free room nights. So after you'd worked at the hotel for 6 months, you would get 3 free room nights to stay at any Four Seasons that had space for employees to make stays. Now, not every hotel was always available. For example, the New York hotel was constantly booked up, and you had to be on top of things to make sure you could find a room in there. But all of the hotels were expected to make room nights available to employees because it is important. Again, once you move to a full year of service, I think you got another 5 nights, and it just kept building up. So you'd have the chance to not only work in the hotel, but experience that for yourself. You got to see what happened so that when you went back to work, you knew what it was like. You knew how to deliver in such a way because it had been done for you. And again, what we're doing is we're making sure that our employees know what it's like. And so for them to get treated that way, that means that as managers, as the people who are in charge of our employees, we want to be focused on the service that we're providing to them and how we're delivering it. We want to think about, well, when we send this out, instead of just flipping it and saying, what is it that the clients get? Again, client experience is part of it. It is part of what you're delivering to your clients. But there's more that you do for them than just what they see in the experience. So you're not only thinking about, well, we want people to sign this, but what does that look like from the employee perspective? If the employees are going to have to carry out some new, if we think about our drink or omelet menu that we think is going to set us apart for service, are our employees capable of delivering on a drink or omelet menu in a way that will actually have value for our clients? If we've made the decision that a drink menu makes sense for us and we're not just throwing money away on red herring products, what are we doing? Well, step 2 is, what is it going to look like for employees? How are they going to deliver on this? Have you thought about who needs to be trained up? What other accommodations are we going to have to make so that we can deliver on this drink menu? Finally, as an owner, what does it look like for us to have to invest in this drink menu? So even if we're thinking about something that probably doesn't make sense like that drink menu, we always need to be thinking about, well, what should we be doing and how can we be doing it? Not only in terms of what the guest receives, but how is it going to be enabled and carried through by our employees? Why? We're always kind of thinking about it on both sides as the owners. Not only what do we want to deliver to our clients, but we also want to think about what does it look like and when we're asking our employees to start delivering on this. Because if they've got to deliver it, if our employees are going to be responsible for some new initiative, they need to know what they're going to do and they need to know how they're going to do it. In my firm, we're starting our annual callbacks to clients, and we've got our legal interns who are going to be making those calls. When they make those calls, we're not just going to say, hey, call the Smith family and just see how things are going. We've got a list of steps so that they know what they're going to do, because we've started with, well, what does the guest want? Well, the client probably isn't even expecting us to give them a call. They know that they've done their documents, but they may not have thought about this in a few months. Well, because it's important, that's why we're reinvesting in reaching back out to them. So when my legal interns give them a call, they're going to know what they should have done before the call to make sure that they're ready to answer some basic questions. They're ready to ask some questions of our clients. How are things going? Anything you need to know about? Do you need to talk to John? All of these sort of things that we're thinking about beforehand so that we can make it easy for them. So that's the management side of making sure that the employees have the tools ready to go so that they can take care of things. And on the same side, it's thinking, well, then through what does it look like? How is this going to be delivered? We're not just going to ask our legal interns to pick up the phone and call them blind. We're going to make sure that they've trained with us in a few mock calls where we say, here, what happens? This is what's going, here's a probable response to a question like this. The clients shouldn't be mad or upset that you've called. We just want to go ahead and make sure that they know roughly what to expect and how to take care of it. So again, wrapping all of this up, being client focused isn't wrong, but it misses part of what we're doing. We aren't here just to think as a singular minded endpoint on what the clients receive. Why? Clients come and go. So we want to take care of them. But we've also got to remember the people who are the other two groups that are going to be involved with us on a longer term basis. First, our employees. How are the things that we're implementing for our clients going to be received and delivered by our employees? Have you thought through what tools they'll need? What training will they need to make sure that they can deliver on this new expectation? Finally, as an owner, how are you going to make sure that your staff has what they need? How are you going to make sure that you can afford it? How are you going to make sure that it's followed through on a regular basis? Because again, it all comes down to what we as the owner operators are looking at and how we can please the two groups, both our clients and our employees. And that's the way we're going to be 5-star counselors. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.